Living without regret, a stoic guide to moving forward. Regret, the silent thief of joy. Regret lingers in the mind, replaying past mistakes and missed chances, robbing us of the ability to move forward. It is an anchor that keeps us tethered to moments we can no longer change. But what if you could live in a way that left no room for regret? What if, instead of dwelling on the past, you focused on the present with clarity and purpose? This is the essence of Stoicism, a philosophy that teaches us to master our emotions, embrace fate, and live fully in the moment. The Stoics did not waste energy on what could have been. They concentrated on what is and what can be done now. They understood that regret is the result of an untrained mind holding onto an unchangeable past. Through their wisdom, they developed practical principles to help us let go, accept, and act decisively. This guide will show you how to apply Stoic teachings to eliminate regret, shift your mindset, and turn past mistakes into sources of strength. Whether you struggle with missed opportunities, unspoken words, or roads not taken, these lessons will empower you to break free from the weight of the past and live with intention. Before we begin, hit the like button below. This isn't just a simple click, it's a commitment to stop tolerating what destroys you. Comment on what resonates with you most. What lesson do you wish you had learned sooner? Share this video with those still trapped in toxic cycles. And most importantly, subscribe now, because what you're about to hear will change how you see others, and more importantly, how you see yourself. The Stoics paved the way. Now, it's your turn to walk it. Chapter 1. The Weight of Regret, and the Stoic Mindset. Regret is a burden that traps the mind in moments that no longer exist. The Stoics recognize this as an obstacle to a rational life. Regret keeps you looking backward, but life only moves forward. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now take what's left and live it properly." This shift in perspective removes the power of regret. The past is unchangeable, but the present is yours to shape. You are not your past. Regret arises when we give too much weight to past mistakes, but the Stoics remind us, you are not defined by your past, but by your present choices. Seneca put it simply, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. If you carry the past as a burden, you allow a ghost to dictate the actions of a living person. Instead, recognize that the past is gone. Your power lies in what you do now. Time. The most common regret. One of the greatest regrets people face is wasted time. Seneca called this out directly. You act like mortals in all that you fear, and like immortals in all that you desire. People live as if time is unlimited, until it's too late. The Stoic remedy is simple. Treat every moment as borrowed, because it is. A practical approach. Premeditation and reflection. To counter regret, the Stoics practiced premeditatio malorum, visualizing future hardships and losses. If you regret a past decision, ask yourself, if I keep dwelling on this, will it improve my present? Can I change what has already happened? The answer is always no. The only logical choice is to accept, learn, and move forward. Instead of fueling self-criticism, use retrospective reflection to identify lessons rather than lament decisions. The Stoics recommended journaling to objectively analyze past events, focusing on the wisdom gained rather than the mistakes made. The dichotomy of control, let go of what you cannot change. Many regrets stem from trying to control what was never in our power. The Stoics taught that understanding what is and isn't within our control frees us from unnecessary suffering. When regret arises, ask yourself, did I act with virtue? Did I do my best given the circumstances? If the answer is yes, regret is meaningless. If the answer is no, then learn, adjust, and move forward. Growth is the ultimate antidote to regret. Tempering expectations. Many regrets come from unrealistic expectations, believing we should have achieved more, been more, done more. The Stoics remind us that some outcomes were never within our control. Adjusting your mindset to accept this removes unnecessary suffering. Daily renewal, a Stoic practice. Each morning, remind yourself that today is a new opportunity to act with wisdom and virtue. Each evening, reflect on what went well rather than fixating on mistakes. By living in alignment with Stoic principles, you replace regret with self-mastery and forward momentum. Chapter 2. Love, Loss and Letting Go, the Stoic Way. Regret is especially painful when it comes to love and relationships. The words we didn't say, the people we lost, the moments we wish we could relive. Unlike the mind, the heart does not let go so easily, but the Stoics remind us, love, like everything else, is fleeting. Epictetus taught, men are disturbed not by things, but by their views of things. It is not the past relationship itself that causes pain, it is the attachment to it, the unwillingness to let go of the story we keep telling ourselves about what should have been. Love without possession. The Stoics did not reject love, they simply refused to be enslaved by it. Seneca wrote, "If you wish to be loved, love. But true love does not seek to possess, it accepts. To love someone is to appreciate them in the moment, understanding that all things, including love, are subject to change. Think of love as a bird that lands on your shoulder. You may admire its beauty, but if you grip it too tightly, you will either harm it or drive it away. The illusion of the one of the deepest regrets in love is believing we lost the one. But this is an illusion. No single person is our only chance at love. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together. Lost relationships were not meant to define us, they were meant to shape us. Letting go of the past. Regret over lost love often leads us to dwell on old messages, photos, or memories. But no amount of replaying the past will change it. The Stoics remind us that clinging to something that no longer exists is a choice to suffer. Epictetus advised, when you kiss your child, your brother, your friend, remind yourself that you love a mortal. Love was never meant to be owned, only experienced. Loss is not a failure, but a certainty. Stoic practices for letting go. Reframe the past. See relationships as experiences that contributed to your growth rather than as losses. Practice. Amor fati. Love your fate. If something ended, it was meant to. Accept life as it unfolds. Detach from control. You cannot change the past, nor can you make someone stay if they are meant to leave. Focus on the present. Happiness, healing, and new love exist only now, not in the past. Engage in self-reflection. Journal, meditate, and break free from regretful thought loops. Regret is natural, but it is not a life sentence. The Stoics teach us that we do not own love, we only get to experience it. When it passes, let it go with gratitude, not sorrow. Final thought, the only true tragedy. The only real tragedy is allowing the past to steal the joy of the present. Everything is transient. Relationships, joy, sorrow. Life flows forward like a river. Regret serves no function but to hold us back. Instead of mourning what is lost, honour it, learn from it, and carry its lessons forward. Because the only way to truly live without regret is to embrace every moment as it comes, fully, completely, and without fear. Living without regret, a Stoic's guide to acceptance and action. Introduction, the silent thief of joy. Regret is a quiet but persistent thief, robbing us of peace and keeping us trapped in the past. It whispers to us in the still moments, reminding us of things left undone, words left unsaid, and opportunities that slipped through our fingers. But what if we could live in a way that left no room for regret? Instead of being weighed down by the past, what if we focused entirely on the present and the choices before us? This is the essence of Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that teaches us to master our emotions, embrace our fate, and live with clarity and intention. The Stoics understood that regret is merely the mind's attachment to an unchangeable past. They refuse to be burdened by what could have been, and instead focused on what is and what can be done now. In this guide, we will explore how to apply Stoic principles to eliminate regret, not only by letting go of the past, but also by making decisions that ensure we have nothing to regret in the future, through perspective shifts and practical exercises. You will learn to transform regret into a source of strength, allowing you to move forward with peace and confidence. No longer will you be a prisoner of past mistakes or lost chances. Instead, you will cultivate a mindset that allows you to embrace life fully, without hesitation, without doubt, and most importantly, without regret. Chapter 1. The Weight of Regret and the Stoic Mindset. Regret is heavy. It chains us to moments that no longer exist, pulling us backward while life moves only forward. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius, one of history's greatest Stoic philosophers, advised, "Think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now, take what's left and live it properly." This is not a morbid statement, it is a call to action. If you treat your past as if it has already been lived, you will stop clinging to regret and start focusing on the present. The weight of regret comes from giving too much power to past mistakes, but Stoicism teaches that you are not defined by your past. You are defined by what you choose to do now. Seneca reminds us, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. When we regret, we allow our past to dictate the present, but what is gone is gone. The only thing that matters is how we move forward. One of the most common sources of regret is wasted time. Seneca criticized people for acting as if they have an unlimited supply of it. You act like mortals in all that you fear, and like immortals in all that you desire. People squander their time and then regret its loss. The Stoic solution is simple. Treat every moment as borrowed, because it is. A practical approach to overcoming regret is premeditatio malorum, the Stoic practice of visualizing potential hardships. If you regret a past decision, ask yourself, what happens if I keep dwelling on it? Will it change the past? Will it improve my present? The answer is always no. The only rational response is to accept what happened and move forward with wisdom. Turning regret into wisdom, instead of criticizing yourself for past mistakes, look at them as necessary lessons that refined your character. The Stoics often recommended keeping a journal to reflect on experiences obi. If the answer is yes, regret is unnecessary. If the answer is no, then learn the lesson and adjust your future actions. Growth is the antidote to regret. Finally, regrets often stem from unrealistic expectations. If you regret not achieving a certain goal, ask yourself, was that goal ever truly within reach? Were my expectations reasonable? By aligning expectations with reality, you free yourself from unnecessary suffering. Daily practice. Each morning, remind yourself that today is an opportunity to act with wisdom and virtue. Each evening, reflect on what went well rather than focusing only on mistakes. By living in alignment with Stoic principles, you replace regret with self-mastery and forward momentum. Chapter 2. Love, Loss, and Letting Go. The Stoic Way. Regret often lingers most in matters of the heart, the relationships that ended, the words left unspoken, the moments we wish we could relive. Unlike the mind, the heart does not let go so easily, but the Stoics teach us that all things are fleeting, including love. To cling too tightly to something impermanent is to guarantee suffering. Epictetus reminds us, men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of things. It is not the past relationship itself that causes suffering. It is our attachment to it. The story we keep telling ourselves about what it meant, what it should have been, or how it could be different. The Stoics did not reject love, but they refused to be enslaved by it. Seneca wrote, if you wish to be loved, love. But he also warned that true love does not possess, it accepts. Love is meant to be experienced, not controlled. Think of love as a bird that lands on your shoulder. You can admire it, enjoy its presence, but if you grip it too tightly, you will either harm it or drive it away. The illusion of the one. One of the greatest regrets in love is the belief that we lost the one. But Marcus Aurelius reminds us, accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together. No single person is meant for us forever. Every relationship, no matter how it ended, was meant to shape us, not define our future. Letting go with gratitude. Scrolling through old messages, reliving memories, torturing yourself with what-ifs. These are traps. The Stoics would remind us that the past is gone. Seneca offers this perspective. What need is there to weep over parts of life? The whole of it calls for tears. Loss is not a failure, but a transition. Every love teaches us something about ourselves, about others, about the nature of connection. Ask yourself, what did this relationship teach me? Did it show me my capacity for love, my strength to endure? Did it highlight areas where I need to grow? If so, was it truly a loss, or was it a necessary step in your evolution? Practical steps to move forward. Reframe the past. Instead of seeing love as something lost, see it as something that contributed to your growth. Amor fati. Love your fate. If the relationship ended, it was meant to. Detach from control. You cannot change the past, nor can you force someone to stay. Focus on the present. Regret exists in the past. Joy, healing, and new love exist only in the present. Engage in reflection. Journaling or meditation can help recognize patterns and break free from regret. Regret over lost love is natural, but it does not have to be a life sentence. The Stoics teach us that we do not own love, we only get to experience it. When it passes, we must let it go with gratitude rather than sorrow. Because the only true tragedy is allowing the past to steal the joy of the present. Overcoming fear and regret through Stoic principles. Conquering hesitation with fear. Setting. Hesitation often leads to regret as inaction accumulates over time. A practical way to counteract this is a technique called fear setting, introduced by Tim Ferriss and rooted in Stoic philosophy. The process is simple. Write down the worst possible outcomes of a decision, assess their actual severity, and devise countermeasures. More often than not, this exercise reveals that fears are exaggerated and risks are manageable. Another way to combat hesitation is through self-inquiry. When faced with doubt, ask yourself, a year from now, will I regret not taking action? If the answer is yes, then act now. The Stoics taught that delaying necessary action is irrational. It only breeds regret. By taking decisive steps, you build a life of meaningful choices rather than passive avoidance. A powerful Stoic exercise for decision-making is future visualization. Picture yourself 5 years from now. Will your future self be grateful for today's choices or burdened by hesitation? Imagining a stronger, wiser version of yourself, shaped by courageous decisions, builds confidence and clarity. To strengthen bold action, try a courage challenge. Take small, uncomfortable steps like speaking up in a meeting, starting a conversation with a stranger, or tackling a difficult task head-on. By training yourself to push through discomfort in minor situations, you prepare for bigger decisions where fear might otherwise hold you back. Ultimately, true courage lies in consistency. Small, everyday acts of bravery create a foundation for a regret-free life. Living with intention ensures that you never look back with sorrow. As Seneca said, begin at once to live, and count each separate day as a separate life. Finding peace in the present. The past is unchangeable, and the future is uncertain, but the present is real. The Stoics emphasized the power of now. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present. By fully engaging in the moment, we eliminate regret, which arises from dwelling on what no longer exists. Happiness, according to the Stoics, is not a future destination, but a byproduct of present engagement. Letting go of past burdens and future anxieties clears the mind and fosters inner peace. A practical way to anchor yourself in the present is intentional breathing. Slow, deliberate breaths shift awareness away from regret and toward the beauty of the current moment. Another method is deep work. Fully immersing yourself in a task reinforces the idea that presence is the key to fulfillment. Presence also strengthens relationships. When engaging with others, practice active listening instead of planning your next response or dwelling on past interactions. Being fully present in conversations fosters deeper connections and prevents regrets about missed opportunities to engage meaningfully. To cultivate this mindset, try mindfulness meditation. Sitting quietly, observing the breath, and noticing thoughts without attachment trains the mind to stay present. Another exercise is attention anchoring. Whether eating, walking, or conversing, commit to being fully engaged in the experience. Gratitude is another tool for living in the moment. At the end of each day, write down 3 things you appreciated. This habit shifts focus from regrets to the tangible beauty of life as it unfolds. By implementing these techniques, you free yourself from the shackles of regret. The past loses its power, the future remains open, and the present becomes a space for action and fulfillment. Mastering emotional resilience. Unchecked emotions often lead to regret. The Stoics understood that by managing our reactions, we prevent future remorse. Seneca observed, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Many regrets stem not from actual events, but from exaggerated fears and emotional overreactions. The first step to emotional resilience is recognizing that feelings are temporary. Just as joy fades, so do sorrow, anger, and disappointment. The Stoics sought apatheia, a state of equanimity where emotions do not dictate actions. A practical method for emotional control is cognitive distancing. Instead of saying, "I am angry," reframe it as, "I am experiencing the sensation of anger." This small shift reduces the emotion's hold, allowing for rational responses. Another tool is the pause technique. When a strong emotion arises, count to 5 before reacting. This brief separation prevents impulsive decisions and fosters emotional control. Daily Stoic journaling is another way to manage emotions. Reflect on moments where emotions dictated your actions. Could you have responded differently? Would another perspective have led to a better outcome? This exercise builds awareness and strengthens self-regulation. Additionally, practice emotional reappraisal. When faced with negativity, ask, "Is this truly harmful or just unpleasant?" Distinguishing between discomfort and real harm prevents unnecessary suffering. Finally, expose yourself to voluntary discomfort, cold showers, fasting, or difficult conversations to build resilience. Regularly facing minor challenges conditions you to remain composed in more significant situations. Overcoming the fear of judgment. Many regrets stem from worrying about what others think. People hesitate to pursue goals, speak their minds, or take action due to fear of external opinions. The Stoics dismiss this as irrational, teaching that